Hi everyone, really hope you're enjoying the podcast. This episode is brought to you by Invisalign Clear Aligners. Do it for you and do it right. This sounds like a motto all of us goalkeepers know a lot about. I'm over halfway through my Invisalign journey and I've always been a bit self-conscious about my smile. I got a personalised treatment plan from a trusted doctor and the peace of mind knowing that Invisalign aligners are based on years of research and experience from millions of patients worldwide. But the improvements have been so much quicker than I could have imagined. I'm seeing my smile change weekly, like the Premier League table. Doing it right involves choosing the world's most advanced clear aligner system. The #1 doctor-recommended clear aligner brand, trusted by 16 million people worldwide. Do it for you. Straightening your teeth with Invisalign treatment means investing in yourself. Hand in hand, or glove in glove, you get the expertise of an Invisalign provider. Now, let's dive back into the podcast. This week is going to be a proper Glove Fest episode. I've actually got the founder of Glove Glue today, Paul Sherratt, welcome.
People talk about sliding doors moments and light bulb moments, and actually it happened to me. I just said, imagine if there was a product, something that you could apply to your gloves to make them grippy. Nobody remembers the save.
No,
they remember the goal. I wasn't sure whether Glove Glue as a brand was right to have them goalkeeping gloves, so we launched as GG Lab, actually. Your brand carries alongside a Nike, an Adi, a Roy. There's no reason why we couldn't carry a glove range from them. So this, I've got to admit, this is the part of the pod that scares me the most. So heads
it's up to you.
Is a keeper, tails is not, okay?
Okay.
One huge problem. Highly flammable.
What a save from Mark Howard.
Hi guys, I'm thrilled to share something with you today. The Mito Pro 300 from Mito Red Light Therapy. Been a game changer. As an athlete, I know the importance of peak performance and recovery, and that's why I rely on the Mito Pro 300 for its unparalleled benefits. Let's dive in to what makes the Mito Pro 300 remarkable. First off, it's all about power, and this device offers 300 red and near-infrared light benefits. These wavelengths penetrate deep into your cells, helping to jumpstart the natural process of recovery and rejuvenation. But it's not just about the numbers, it's about results. The Mito Pro 300 is designed for maximum efficiency. It emits light evenly and directly onto your body, ensuring every inch benefits from this therapeutic light. You might be thinking, why should I choose the Mito Pro 300? Simple, it's a game changer in the world of light therapy. The award-winning quad wavelength design, updated with remote control technology. Toggle up and down on the timer, reset unit settings, and operate multiple units with the same remote. If you're dealing with the aches and pains of an active lifestyle, or simply someone looking to improve your overall well-being, the Mito Pro 300 is your solution, and it's versatile. Use it for targeted spot treatments or full-body therapy sessions. The choice is yours, and the benefits are undeniable. Plus, it's easy to use. Just plug it in, set your treatment time, and relax. There's no steep learning curve, no complications. With the Mito Pro 300, you're not just investing in a device. You're investing in your health, your well-being, and your performance. Don't wait. Discover the incredible benefits of the Mito Pro 300 for yourself. Visit mitoredlight.com and take the first step towards a better you. Hit the link in the description below. Now let's dive back into this episode. Hello everyone and welcome back to the Yours Mine Away podcast with me, Mark Howard. This week is going to be a proper Glove Fest episode. Make sure you're sat in your chair nice and comfy, whatever you're doing, driving or whatever, with your kids and that. Make sure you listen to this because this is very important information about gloves. I've actually got the founder of Glove Glue today, Paul Sherratt, welcome.
Thanks, Mark. Good to be here.
No, thank you very much. We've obviously already had like some really good behind the scenes chat about just glove care, and glove care is so important to what you do and the brand.
It's key. It's fundamental. I mean, that's where we've come from. We've created a product initially to make your gloves grippy, and it's expanded into a whole range of goalkeeping glove care products. And as you say, it's absolutely key to make your gloves last longer and perform better.
Yep. Obviously, I want to mention as well, you've got a huge YouTube following. You've got a big social media presence as well. And obviously, you've done your own podcasting as well. And it's obviously the brand is growing all the time. You've got the Nationals Academy. So it is a brand that is constantly on the move. Is it something that's difficult to keep moving forward, or is it you're just enjoying where it's going?
Loving where it's going. A lot of people probably don't realise, so the brand started as a side gig back in 2012. And at the time, I was actually had a business that was representing lots of other brands, and one of my core clients was Uhlsport. So between 2008 and 2020, I really got to know the goalkeeping market through Uhlsport in particular. And so that seed of an idea is 11, 12 years ago. It's really in the last 3 years that we've seen really, really aggressive global growth.
Yep.
And that's driven by a number of factors. So you mentioned socials. Yeah, socials is really important for us. We're 860,000 TikTok followers, 170,000 YouTube, getting on for 50,000 Insta. So that whole community has massively driven where we're going as a brand.
Yep.
And we're picking up more and more global customers. We're in 44 countries around the world, and we're picking up some big customers, Dick's in the US and Rebel in Australia and so on and so forth. So the sports multiples. So all of that collectively together just makes us really important and relevant in goalkeeping. And we're category king in this category of goalkeeping glove care.
Yep.
That didn't really exist before.
Yeah. I love the fact that you're getting into Dick's Sporting Goods as well. Obviously, me doing this show and obviously being attached to Wrexham, the American market and the reception that goalkeepers have in America just hits differently. Like, they're so much more positive about goalkeeping. They applaud them instead of boo them. It's like it's a celebrated position out in America. So I find it amazing, obviously, to go and to get into Dick's Sporting Goods is massive.
Yeah, we've been in the US for 10 plus years. Really, really important market for us. And you're absolutely right. I'll tell you a story. So every year there's a United Soccer Coaches Convention in the US. It moves around various cities in the US. And there's anywhere between 6,000, 7,000, 8,000 coaches that go there. And here's the real important difference that I always see, and you've just hit on it. These are coaches from around the US that go to somewhere for 5-6 days to learn. All they want to do is educate themselves to be better coaches in and around soccer. That's all they want to do. Yeah, there's a few beers on the side and a bit of banter, but fundamentally they are there to learn. And you look at the mentality here, and I'm not sure whether we have that same mentality.
Yeah.
I don't know whether it's because, hey, it's Premier League and football was born here and all that sort of stuff.
Bit of elitism.
Maybe. But you're right. So what it means is you've got all these really educated coaches that are actually earning a bloody good living as well. And they're respected in everything that they do. So even as a goalkeeper coach and as a goalkeeper, their standing is arguably, I want to say higher, it's probably the wrong word, but than it is here. So I think you're right. It's a weird one, but it is massively inspiring when you go over there.
I find, like I said, the reception I've had in America towards goalkeeping, and you make a save out there, and it's like the routine saves that we would say in England, out there they are celebrated as if it's like unbelievable. But I don't know if it's just their positive mentality also, compared to, like, we're quite defeatism and negative around goalkeepers.
Maybe.
We are the villains of football in England. Because I've said it before on here a lot of times, but like, no one goes to a game to watch 0-0 and both goalkeepers have a great game. So we're kind of the villains in football. And in America, I think they flip that because it's quite a niche position and they celebrate the goalkeepers.
And maybe this is a really weird thing to say, but maybe they're actually better educated in terms of the reality of the game, of the sport. I don't know.
Yeah, it's a difficult one. I want to go back into the glove care then. Right, so what made you start glove care?
Okay, so a friend of mine called Glenn Robertson, and he, back in 2011, I helped him launch Responsible onto the marketplace. And if you're a goalkeeper, you may well remember this was a ball with bumps, basically, back in the day.
Bobbled all around, great for reactions and so on. And we had both just driven to Just Keepers. Again, most of your listeners, I'm sure, will know Just Keepers. And I'd introduced him to them and his product, and they just listed his product. And we were driving back
and we were just throwing around all these ideas in and around goalkeeping. What could you do with goalkeeping? And we were talking about training products and all sorts of things. And I can tell you, people talk about sliding doors moments and light bulb moments, and actually, it happened to me. I can tell you where I was. There's a place called Wick Hill. It was between Stow-in-the-Wold and Burford. I was at the bottom of Wick Hill. And I just turned to Glenn and I went, I think I've got it. And he's like, got what? I said, well, everybody talks about, if you spend 200 quid on a pair of goalkeeping gloves, they're super, super grippy, but they don't last very long because the nature of the beast is they're grippy because one of the reasons is the latex is soft.
Yeah.
If you spend 10 quid on a pair of gloves, the latex isn't grippy at all because it's super hard, but they last a long time.
Yeah.
I just said, imagine if there was a product, something that you could apply to your gloves. Doesn't matter whether they're 10 quid, 50 quid, 100 quid, whatever, to make them grippy.
Yep.
And that was it. And that was the seed.
Yeah.
And it grew from there, really. So I had a chemist friend who helped develop the formula to my brief. And at the time, as I said, I was working with all sports. So I was working with a lot of pro keepers. So I was able to throw samples at who was around then, Hugo Lloris and Pepe Reina and UC Escalina and these guys. So they were testing it at pro level. Glenn was a goalkeeping coach, so he was testing it at amateur level, if you like. And we were chucking it at a few players. Took us about 8 months to get the formula right. Fantastic. This thing works. This is brilliant. We've got the grip right. This is perfect. One huge problem. Highly flammable. Oh, no, this isn't going to work. We can't ship this globally. So it took another 7-8 months then to finally get the formula to a point where it's water-based, so really latex-friendly, and has got, if you like, the grippy stuff inside it. So we launched in 2012. And then by 2013, the obvious move was to looking after your gloves more generally. And we launched this sort of wash, refresh, revive concept. Wash your gloves, refresh them, stop them smelling, revive them, improve the grip. And and since then, we've developed more and more products in and around glove care to get us to where we are today.
Yeah. Obviously, we've all seen like the memes over the years of goalkeepers putting glue on their gloves, and obviously making them more tacky and that. But obviously, the spray that you have developed is a kind of glue. It makes your gloves more tacky, doesn't it? It
does. The whole principle is what we want to try and do is take your gloves back to the grippiness that they had out of the packet.
Yep.
So when you get, and your listeners will know this, so when you get a new pair of gloves and you just pull them apart and the latex just kind of grips.
It's like delicately
it's that really
stuck to itself.
Exactly. And it's not really solidly, it's just that lovely, that's what we're trying to get to.
Yeah.
The higher up the price points you go, the easier it is to get that.
Yeah.
But what's really interesting is, I said, when you're down at 10, 15, 20 quid, they don't do that when they come out the packet.
No, of course they don't. No.
But maybe you can get them closer to that.
Yeah.
So there's that's where we're coming from.
Yeah.
What's happened over the years is, yes, people use them on new gloves, but of course, inevitably your latex wears out.
Yes.
Doesn't matter how good your gloves are. But you love those gloves. The integrity of the glove is fine. It's just the palm is worn.
Yep. Or slightly dry.
Or slightly dry, whatever it is. So that's where glove glue really comes into its own.
Yep.
Because you can effectively revive the palms there and still use and play and train in those gloves that you love.
Yep.
Because you are getting them closer to what they were originally when they came out of the packet.
It's also a great tool for all parents because obviously the price of gloves is going up. Obviously inflation is hitting everyone quite hard, but to have a product that can enhance your gloves for longer periods instead of having to replace them more frequently. I mean, we were just talking off air about how often elite goalkeepers change their gloves, and it is weekly, if not daily now. And the further down the pyramid of football you go, the more and more you're trying to make your gloves last. And even someone like myself, I don't get through a lot of gloves anymore. I don't need to because I can keep one pair of match gloves for as long as I need them to keep for like 6, 7, 8 games I've worn gloves for. And it doesn't bother me. As long as I'm happy in them, I'm confident in them. It doesn't really matter about the latex anymore because latex has got to a point at elite gloves now where it's much of a muchness. It can deteriorate a bit, but as long as you look after your gloves, they're good to go.
And I think that is the key point. Look after your gloves to make them last longer and perform better.
Yeah.
How often do we see keepers, they finish their session, they take their gloves off, they chuck them in the bottom of the kit bag, and a week later, they pull out said gloves that are the tools of their trade that potentially make a difference between a save and not making a save.
Yeah.
Don't look after them. They stink, they're dirty, and therefore if they're dirty, the latex is not going to perform as it should do.
Yep.
And you sort of think, and you've just spent, I don't know, maybe you spent £100 on these gloves. They're not going to last. They're not going to perform to the £100 level that they should be performing at. So there's a massive educational play for keepers of any level. Just look after the damn thing. Just make sure you wash them regularly. Get all the dirt and the grit and everything out of the latex, because it's not going to help if you got crap inside.
Yeah, it's one of my pet peeves of people coming out to train with dirty gloves. It just looks unprofessional as well. But even like as a goalkeeper of 20 years now, like I can see they're not going to perform well enough, those gloves. They're not going to perform to the level that they should. And like people come out with dirty boots or dirty gloves. It don't matter what level you play at. It's unprofessional.
We spent, it's really interesting, we did a lot of stuff with Roy Carroll back in 2019, 2020, came on board as global brand ambassador. And Roy and I did a lot of Zoom calls to academies during COVID. Everybody was on the Zoom, what else do we do? The clubs were trying to, keep their academy players engaged, couldn't train, or if they were training at home. So we collectively got academies, 16, 17-year-olds in, to teach them, to educate them about glove care.
Yeah.
Why? Well, because our view was, if you want to be a professional, you might be really, really lucky and you might get 50, 100 pairs free. The reality is probably you won't. And therefore probably you need to look after your gloves and your boots because they're the tools of your trade. So how do you do that? Why should you do that? You've just talked about it. There's nothing worse at any level, but particularly at your level. If you're walking on a pitch with dirty gloves and boots, it just completely gives the wrong image.
100%.
So you've got these 16, 17-year-olds in the academies that need that education. They're getting it in lots of other aspects of the sport. But as keepers, they're not all embracing that point that, this kind of outward appearance, if you're looking after yourself and you're looking after your products, and it has a positive effect on the staff around you as well.
Look the part, play the part.
Absolutely.
I think it's huge in goalkeeping. The one that chest up, good posture and like positive mental attitude. You can see it, like it reflects into like the defenders, and the one that's got the loud voice and like the big white mitts. I think it's a traditional thing that big white gloves, everyone just thinks the hands look bigger. It's a perception. And I think having clean boots and clean gloves is that perception. It's like, yeah, he's ready for today.
I was talking to a scout about it. So scenario A is, scouts on the side of the pitch, two keepers walk on. One walks on, looking a bit shabby, looking down, dirty gloves, dirty boots. The other one walks on, clean boots, clean gloves, etc., etc. Straight away, it doesn't matter whether goalkeeper A has an absolute cracking session. Straight away,
drawn the eye.
The scout's looking at probably the other guy because he just looks the part.
Yeah.
And it's a crazy thing, but it's human nature.
Yeah, it is. Right, I've got a couple of quick fire questions for you anyway.
Okay.
Before we crack into more about the glove glue stuff. Right, catch or parry?
I probably should say catch, shouldn't I? Because, here's a product that helps you catch the ball. I'll go catch.
Yeah. Favourite kit colour? You must love an old school goalkeeper kit.
Well, I'm going to throw this in. So I actually did some research last year, and there is if you Google it, there's some research done in the US with keepers wearing different coloured kits and the impact that had on penalty takers. Yeah. So this was a controlled experiment, and the most successful colour in that context for a goalkeeper to wear was a red.
Red, yeah.
A red shirt.
Right, okay.
So let's go with red. Let's say a red shirt.
Yeah, I'm going to come back to the kit colours because that's a really interesting topic anyway. Right, play out from the back or kick it long?
I'm kick it long. I'm 54 years old. Come on, I grew 100%. up with the long ball from the back.
Right, who's your favourite ever goalkeeper?
When I was 7 years old. So imagine this is Liverpool. They were winning, European Cups and FA Cups and things like that. So I was a Liverpool fan. So Ray Clements was my keeper back in the 70s, and that Clements-Shilton England battle was interesting. It's a battle that we arguably haven't seen.
No, true.
In England colours for a long, long time in terms of two keepers really vying for the number one spot. So we'll go Ray Clements.
Ray Clements coming for crosses with one hand was
there you go.
something to behold. Even I'm old enough to have witnessed it at 37. There's something that when he came for a cross and he just stuck one big mitt out and it just stuck. We weren't even a mitt, it was bare hand.
Yeah.
It would just stick. It's like, that looked incredible in the eye.
It did.
Right, who's the best keeper in the world right now then?
Now, that's a real tough one, isn't it? I'll admit to you, I am not a huge football fan in terms of watching lots of football. You're absorbed in it day to day. The football that I watch, the most football I watch is Arsenal. My youngest son is a big Gooner.
Yeah.
His granddad grew up around Highbury, as it was at the time. And I was a big, big fan of Aaron Ramsdale.
Yeah.
I'd go to the Emirates and see this keeper at the back who clearly had great connection with his teammates, vocally really, really strong, had a presence.
Presence is a
and
massive
was a real. For me, it was a shock for Raya to come in, because I felt that Ramsdale had really brought something special to that team.
Yeah.
So even though we're not seeing him at the moment, it's probably wrong to put him as the best keeper in the world. But I would certainly rate him.
Yep. Just bags of character as well. Like, he oozes it, and
it's the communication piece is critical, and I just feel that he's really, really strong in that department.
He's kind of an old school goalkeeper, but with the modern playing out from the back mentality as well.
Exactly.
Yeah, I'm a massive fan as well.
Exactly.
Right, just go back into the kits for now, right?
Right.
Actually, I'm going to finish on my last quickfire question I always finish on. It's the last minute of a game, Paul. You can either go up and score the winning goal, or you can save the penalty to win the game.
I'm going to go up and score all day long.
Has to be
all day long. I'm going to have a stand named after me, aren't I? If I go up and score in the last minute.
Imagine the after dinner speeches you're doing for the rest of your life.
100%.
Talking about your goal.
Nobody remembers the save.
No,
they remember the goal.
Yeah, well.
Well, perhaps they do remember the save.
Yeah, they might remember a save from last year.
They might do.
I wanted to go back on the kits then, because I find it a really interesting subject. So obviously goalkeeper kits have got really bright lately. Like the last 5-6 years have gone to luminous colours, and it's to distract the striker's eye. It's to focus more attention on seeing the goalkeeper, making him look bigger. But then on the flip side to that, I would say that it makes a striker more aware of where you're standing, and it's easier to actually slot the ball past you in a one-on-one or at the corner of their eye. They know where you are. Where if you blend into the background with a dull colour like a grey or a black or a goalkeeper green, I find that you kind of, they don't know where you are, and you're more likely to make saves because they're not looking for you.
We actually, so Martin Brennan and myself did a whole piece on this, and we debated and talked about goalkeeper kits. And we came up with some really interesting conclusions. So imagine this. Imagine the scenario that your kit is actually a montage of faces from the crowd. So actually it's like a camouflage kit. Yeah. So you kind of fade into the back of the goal. Does that work? I don't know.
Yeah.
Martin threw in a bit of a
Everton tried that with a camouflage kit once. I remember Tim Howard wearing a proper camo kit.
They did. I wasn't quite crowd camouflage, but it was kind of... Then of course you throw in a left field, want to go, okay, see-through kit. That would be a big distraction for any striker. Don't know whether you'd get away with that one. But yeah, as I said, there is research out there.
Yeah.
And why shouldn't there be more research? Because we all buy into the story, but it's the brand story. It's the brand saying, we've launched a bright fluorescent yellow, green, whatever kit because of X, Y, and Z.
What sells best?
We're telling the story.
Yeah.
But there's actually no empirical research behind it. We had to say it's the same with gloves. You've got certain keepers that only will wear certain pairs of gloves. You've got others that are convinced if they wear a bright, flashy fluo pair of gloves, it's a distraction technique and it helps them. Yeah. From my view, and you're subscribed to this, if the kit colour gives you an additional 1% confidence, feel good as a keeper, then that's a great kit.
100%.
That's a great kit. If you're walking out slightly embarrassed because it's whatever colours you don't like, a bright pink with and I look a bit of a whatever, it's not a great place to start, is it?
Yeah, what amazes me is that clubs don't actually speak to their goalkeepers ever about their kit
Correct.
going forward.
Correct.
And I find this quite amazing that Alisson Becker that could say, I prefer wearing a black kit, but Liverpool will choose to put him in a yellow kit. And you're like, why would you not just let your goalkeeper choose his own equipment? It's like telling him what boots and gloves he has to wear.
But I think we know the reasons why, because they're commercial reasons, and the reality is that goalkeeper kits don't sell.
Don't sell, yeah.
Or if they sell, they sell nowhere near in the numbers that outfield kits. So you've got all the clubs, and I've been in many of those conversations over the years, talking to clubs about kit colours and so on. They're completely focused on home shirt,
Yep.
away, maybe a third strip because they can get a bit more out of the fans. You're right. There's never a conversation about
With the goalkeeper.
never a conversation.
But because they're not selling anyway, is there not more of an emphasis to then say, well, just let our goalies pick them because they don't sell regardless?
I agree. And
like that's what I find it. I've my whole career, I've always tried to say, what's next year's kit? What's next year's kit? What are we going to wear? And they're like, oh, commercials chose that 4 months ago. And you're like, no one told me. Like, no one's ever come to the goalkeeper. And like, this has been my whole career. But at other clubs, I know this has happened. No goalkeeper's ever been consulted about goalkeeper kits.
Which is crazy. I mean, we so one of our goalkeepers, Lydia Williams, Australian goalkeeper, we talked to her probably 6, 8, 9 months before Women's World Cup last year. Sadly, she didn't play in the end. She was number 2. But we talked to her, A, about what the Australian kit was going to be in the tournament, because she knew.
Yep.
B, what the ASICS boots that she was going to wear were going to
try
be,
and colour match
because she
everything.
knew. So we developed a glove that completely embraced the ASICS glove and the Australian kit, because she wanted to feel $1 million. She wanted to go out there and think, okay, this all works.
This works, yeah.
This all works.
Yep.
So we spent that time, and this was related to gloves. We spent the time doing that, and it had a real positive mental impact on her. But that very, very rarely happens.
Yeah. No, right. Let's go into your gloves then. Obviously, you've gone from glove care into the glove world then. What made you want to start competing with so many other gloves that are out there?
Stayed away from it for a long time. There are a gazillion glove brands out there, as you well know. Within goalkeeping glove care, this is a category we've created that we're driving forward, that we're innovative, that we can really own, in inverted commas. Gloves, really, really difficult to do that. The reason we went into it actually was coming back from our customers. So, we have this fantastic global customer base, goalkeeper specialists, soccer specialists, who were basically saying, look, your brand resonates really strongly now. Your brand carries alongside a Nike, an Adi, a Royce, an Allsport and so on. There's no reason why we couldn't carry a glove range from you if you were to develop a glove range.
Yeah.
So that was the first impetus. That was, okay, that's really interesting. Our customers are wanting this product. The second thing was, if we were going to go into goalkeeping gloves, we had to do something completely different. We had to just tell a different story, even if the gloves were complete Marmite and people either loved them or hated them. So the launch was based around this skin range of gloves, so a kind of a bare skin, a dry skin, a wet skin, where bare skin, no grip, wet skin, a traditional latex glove. And the dry skin was basically the world's first silicone palm goalkeeper glove.
Yep.
Fantastic in dry conditions, absolutely appalling in wet conditions, but that's fine. We told the consumers
that's what your gloves are
that's
for.
what the glove is. And it became a talking point. Why silicone? American footballers have silicone palms.
Yep.
You see some of these insane one-handed catches that these guys are pulling off.
Odell Beckham Jr.
All
plucking
of
them out of the sky.
Yeah. So, okay, why can't that work in goalkeeping? And it does work in goalkeeping in a dry environment.
Yep.
So we had a story to tell, which was something completely different, which we knew wasn't necessarily the most commercial glove in terms of gloves range, in terms of getting volume, but it was a story to tell. And we had customers that were saying, look, if you bring out a glove range, we'll support you. So we've been lucky enough that all of the retailers that your listeners will buy from, so soccer.com or Pro Direct or Just Keepers or Unisport or Keepersport, etc., etc. The list goes on. they all stock our goalkeeping gloves.
Yep.
So I like to think we've kind of snuck around the back of the incumbent glove brands through the success that we've had in glove care. It's given us a route into goalkeeping gloves.
Yeah.
If we'd have tried to come into the market just with goalkeeping gloves, it would have been blimmin' tough.
Yeah, really tough.
And we wouldn't have anywhere near the business that we have today. And it's still only about last year it was 14% of our global revenues with goalkeeping gloves.
Yeah.
So again, it's relatively small beer for us.
So I wanted to talk to you about the silicone gloves, because I find it an interesting concept, because obviously we get our pitches watered, the weather conditions in the UK change all the time. So was you finding originally that goalkeepers would be like warming up in the glove and go, fantastic, as soon as it started raining, they would then go, I haven't got a spare pair of gloves? Or were you getting feedback like this? Or they'd water the pitch just before kickoff and then you'd go out and it's a total different concept?
Yeah, I think at your level, at pro level, no interest for obvious reasons. Our global footprint has a big impact. So, we're a wet weather market here in the UK.
Yes.
If you take Australia, for example, it's not it's more of a dry weather. So the success that we've had with dry skin has been very much related to the country that
warmer
we're selling it in. Also, those markets that have a big five-a-side play, where somebody wants to wear gloves, five-a-side pitches don't tend to be watered. They tend to be pretty dry, so that's pretty good. So that the small-sided game we've seen take up with dry skin gloves. And, again, at an amateur level, 4G, if you're training and playing on a 4G, sometimes they get watered, but often they've got sand on them, and again, they're quite dry. So it's one of the reasons why, as I said, it was never going to be a huge volume seller because of those reasons. But it's great to get people talking about, have you seen this silicone palm glove? Who is it? Glove Glue didn't know they do gloves. Oh, they do gloves today. That's quite interesting. What other gloves do they do? So it's an in into the brand.
Yep. Yeah, it's a great talking point. It's obviously a great topic of discussion, and like you said, bringing awareness to your gloves, and they then would look at other ranges that you do. And it's clever. It's clever marketing, really. It's the same with Voss, the no grip.
Yep.
And it's made people talk about their gloves because everyone's talking about the pair of gloves that has no grip at all.
Exactly.
And it's just a marketing ploy to get you interested in a brand. But obviously the silicone gloves, there's great scientific research behind it.
Silicone gloves are great. It's work. We I think Lee was a bit upset with me because our bearskin gloves is a no grip glove. Yep. Yes, they launched it into the marketplace like lots of people launch latex gloves, and we have a bearskin glove out there, and it's a neoprene palm, and it does a job. His market is a B2C market. Our market is predominantly B2B wholesale, and therefore, there's plenty of space in the marketplace for lots of different gloves. But again, it's a talking point, isn't it?
Can we get into the research that goes into gloves, and obviously without giving away any secrets? But I'd love to know the step by step of how a goalkeeper glove is made.
Yeah. So first and foremost, we try and tie our glove technologies back into our glove palm technologies back into our core products.
Yep.
So we have different levels of palm, different levels of latex relating back to our core product. So Mega Grip, Glove Glue Mega Grip is our stickiest, grippiest spray. So therefore, Glove Glue Mega Grip Palm is our grippiest palm. You then move down to Glove Glue Original, and so on and so forth. So the starting point is you first and foremost looking at what we're going to do in terms of price points.
Yep.
And then engineering it back. We then work with the designer from a design point of view. We then know what price points we want to hit. We know, therefore, what technology we can and cannot put into that glove, what level of latex we can and cannot put into that glove. Latex, we're pretty confident about that. We've got a great supply. We've got a great glove factory. So, we recognise that as a brand in goalkeeping gloves, we're not the innovators that a Reusch or an Allsport may be.
Yep.
And I've been inside that. I've been inside international product development meetings with an Allsport, and I've looked at the time and effort and energy and expense that it takes to develop a super grip palm, for example, and the volume of gloves that you need to be producing for the latex manufacturer to even sell you said super grip palm.
Yep.
So the reality is, if you then drop down to a price point and look at the gloves that are in the market where we are, 60, 70, 80 pounds, the vast majority of the palms are not dissimilar.
Yep.
So of course we're all going to say we've got the super grippiest palm, but the reality is we're all quite similar. So then what else impacts the customer? What else makes your customer buy the glove? Cut, of course, is really, really important.
Yes.
So again, I go back to the to 2008, 2009. Roll finger in the UK was a really, really big UK topic.
Yes.
You look at where we are now, it's less so. Predominantly driven by the fact that even back in 2009, 10, 60% of the European keepers were wearing negative cut.
Yeah, negative.
So we were just this little island that had this roll finger thing going on. As those European keepers have come into the Premier League and have started wearing negative as a cut has grown. So therefore, you're looking at your range. You're looking at, okay, what cut do we have? Do we need a negative? 100%. Do we need a roll finger? Quite UK specific. Little bit of US action there.
Yep.
So it depends where your strength in the market is. Do we need some sort of hybrid cut? Yeah, nice story to tell. Lots of people playing around with cuts and different hybrid cuts and combinations of a negative or a roll or whatever it may be. So okay, that kind of works. So we're looking at design. We're looking at cut. Then we're looking at, there were certain markets where finger protection is really important. So the US is a huge finger protection market. So okay, you want finger protection. Is it fixed? Is it removable? What price point do you really want to target for that?
Yep.
So you're then starting to formulate a range, and you're then starting to think about the price points that you want these gloves to be at, because the price point is going to dictate the material inside that product.
Of course, yes.
So if you want to hit an aggressive price point, you need to have a cheaper material in and around that glove. It can't have as many whistles and bells. So what whistles and bells can it have? Should it have? And then you start embracing trends. So the big trend over the last 5-6 years has been the strapless glove.
Gloves, yeah.
So do you go fully strapless? Do you come with a removable strap? Where do you go? What direction do you go in? So there's a whole piece around that. Do you go traditional? Do you go kind of modern?
Yeah.
What's the direction?
But you also want your brand to be more eye-catching or set aside from the rest of that whole market. You need to be a little bit more specific and focus on one area.
Which then is all about your brand voice. And, we launched gloves 3 years ago. And at the time, coming out of COVID, at the time, rightly or wrongly, my perception was that I wasn't sure whether Glove Glue as a brand was right to have on goalkeeping gloves. So we launched as GG Lab, actually, powered by Glove Glue.
Yeah. I remember the original GG Lab sprays, yeah.
So we've come away from GG Lab to Glove Glue gloves. They're branded Glove Glue gloves. So yeah, it's all about brand. It's all about brand voice. Where do you want to be?
Yeah.
But I guess the funniest thing about developing and designing goalkeeping gloves, and this will be true for probably every single glove brand out there, it doesn't matter how flashy you are, what colours you introduce, everything that you do in and around a glove, commercially still, some of the strongest selling gloves are a black out, an all black glove, and a white out, an all white glove.
Yeah.
Every single brand does that, and every single brand does it because the end consumer still loves like a really, really clean white glove that you can hardly even see the branding on, maybe.
100%, yeah.
Same with the black glove.
Yep.
So we to some extent, we always start with that as well and make sure that if we've got a particular design,
they're the first
we work it through as a black out and a white out, which sounds crazy, but just to make sure that even in that version, it works, because commercially, those two colours are going to be some of the top selling colours.
The consumers want that.
Absolutely.
You have to give them what they want.
Completely.
Yeah. It's fascinating. Obviously, is this your new range then?
So we launched this. So this is the dark side range. This is the trance glove. So we launched this in October last year. This will follow through for 2024. So removable strap.
Yeah, removable strap. See, I'm old school. I like a strap. So to see gloves without a strap, I still find that even watching goalkeepers play, they're playing with their gloves a lot more than a keeper with a strap.
And the strapless thing is a really difficult thing to achieve because of people's wrists widths are vastly varied compared to their hand size.
Yeah.
So you could be a size 11 glove with skinny wrists, and you could be a size 11 gloves with fat wrists.
Yep.
So to get a really, really good fitting strapless glove is hard.
Yep.
So our view is whatever we do, they should come with a removable wrist strap. And you will find that some keepers will put on a strapless glove and it fits literally like a glove. It's perfect. Why? Because their dimensions, their hand and wrist dimension are perfect for that glove.
Yep.
But at the other end of the scale, you'll find those with a skinny wrist that want a strap and those with a fat wrist that find it really, really difficult and probably don't even want to wear a strapless glove. They'll go to, if you like, a more traditional glove. So it's introduced another element into glove design that is, and you see, you'll see some products out there on a keeper and you just think, that's a really flappy wrist. Maybe the glove design is really poor. It's probably nothing to do with the glove design. It's just the fact that this guy, it's the dimensions of his hand and wrist.
Our testament to that. So I'm a 10.5, 11 glove. I've got skinny wrists. So I have to strap like tape around my wrist to make them fatter because no goalkeeper gloves, not many goalkeeper gloves fit perfectly to my wrist because I have got really big, wide hands but narrow wrists.
Yeah.
So I have to that's why I'll tape my wrists, just to make them feel like the strap's on properly. And so for me to go into a strapless glove would just not work.
Yeah.
Because it would just be hanging off my wrist.
We solved the problem to some extent with this glove up here with a polyester wrist. Again, never been done before. Which effectively acted like a base layer, really. So as long as you've got the full palm and hand quite tight inside the glove, then the wrist element was as polyester was also exactly like it was a skin. So it was very tight. So that solved the problem to some extent.
Yeah.
But again, you try and do that and move it towards a more traditional glove.
Yep.
And it looks different, and people want to stay quite safe. And if they're seeing, if you like, the mega brands bringing out strapless gloves with removable straps and so on, that's where they're headed, even if they can't afford that. So
I think that's just obviously as society and goalkeeping's changing anyway. You like what you know and you know what you like. I've always worn a glove with a strap, a roll or a hybrid cut. Actually, to be fair, I wear spines, so I'm one of the minority in the UK that still wear spines in my gloves. I still like finger protection. And it came from my love of Van der Sar, and that was it.
Yeah.
And he wore it, so if he wore it, it was good enough for me. And I looked up to my idol, and that was it. So I went away from it for a couple of years and got a couple of fingers broken. I was like, Van der Sar never went away from it. And your childhood memories are always within you, so you go back to what you know and like.
Yeah, and it's perception in the market and education in the market. As you say, it's what you grow up with and what your coaches are telling you.
Yeah.
There's all sorts of things that influence, particularly in the finger protection, what glove you end up wearing. And I think there's a perception that most pros would never be seen dead in finger safe.
Yeah.
Why is that?
Yeah.
And it's not true.
No, there are. I think it's about 3 or 4 Premier League keepers now that wear finger protection.
Yeah.
So there are goalkeepers that wear them. It's just not as known.
Well, it's a hidden technology. So as you say, you wouldn't know. You can blow up a photograph now and you can see the cut that they're wearing. You can see what the glove is.
Yep.
Which again, a lot of the brands have become more savvy to that. Back in the day, and again I go back to my all sport days, you'd have keepers that would be wearing gloves that you could tell were not the inline model.
Yep.
So the end consumer is going, I want to wear the Hugo Lloris glove.
Yep.
Buying it and realizing, actually, hang on a minute, his has got something different. He's got a thumb wrap or something different, or there's something I feel a bit shortchanged here. I want to be him.
Yeah.
I want the glove that he's wearing. So I think a lot of the manufacturers have tried to come away from that approach.
Yep.
To try and give the end consumer, as near as damn it, the same glove as their lead endorsees.
Because a lot of brands were making gloves that they weren't even their own gloves, they were just branding them up, weren't they?
Correct.
I know that Jens Lehmann in the past and David De Gea, there's been a lot of goalkeepers famously that have had branded up gloves that were not actually that brand.
Well, Kasper Schmeichel had his KS gloves for a while, and they were All Sport gloves, and he finally signed with All Sport.
Yes.
But he's one of the most recent examples, and people are going, what's the glove he's wearing? You know? But yeah, it was a precursor to him signing with the brand, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. Right, what's your goalkeeping knowledge like?
Huge shout out to Forged Irish Stout for being part of this podcast.
Listen to that beauty. An unbelievably smooth, creamy stout by Conor McGregor, the UFC legend. Not here to take part, but here to take over. Forged Irish Stout is on a mission to become the biggest Irish stout. Conor McGregor has taken over the whiskey game. Now he's about to take over the stout game. Me and my guests will be enjoying a few cans in the next few episodes. If you fancy checking it out too, make sure you hit the description below and find out where you can get Forged Irish Stout. Forged Irish Stout will be available in Asda nationwide come August. Let's get back to the podcast.
So this, I've got to admit, this is the part of the pod that scares me the most.
I've narrowed yours down a bit, but made yours a little bit more niche instead.
You might not agree with this approach. So first and foremost, who's had the lowest score?
Oh, that's a good question.
I did see that you really stitched Selzy up the other day.
Well, I didn't stitch Selzy up. I actually, one of the goalkeepers that Selzy didn't know is now just signed for Aston Villa, Joe Gauci.
Right.
So there are goalkeepers.
It did give me some comfort. I felt, okay, there's people with huge goalkeeping knowledge that are squirming here. So I thought I'd take the toss a coin approach here.
Really, yeah?
Yeah.
Right,
because I figured, how many have you got? 10?
10. So it's goalie or no goalie. I've got 5 MLS goalkeepers for you.
Okay, I bought my coin.
Yeah, you're actually going to
I'm going to go. I think I can get 6.
And then I've got 5 other founders of coffee companies.
Okay, I think I can get 6.
So
I'm just going to go coin toss. I think I can get 6 out of 10 with the coin, which could be better than my knowledge.
Right.
Ready with that?
Okay, yeah, of course, yeah.
Okay,
if this is the game, how you're going to play it, I'm interested to see this one.
If it's never been done before, I think
it's never been done before.
Okay,
right.
Okay.
So number 1.
Okay.
James Pentimis.
So heads is.
It's up to you.
Is a keeper. Tails is not. Okay.
Okay.
That's tails. No keeper.
He is a goalkeeper. He is. This Canadian plays for Portland Timbers.
Okay.
Goalkeeper.
The coin strategy's not working so far.
Not yet. Right.
Okay.
Sergio Costa.
That's heads. He's a goalkeeper.
He is not a goalkeeper. Him and his brother founded Costa Coffee.
I did think that, but you know, I'm stuck on the
coin technique's not working.
I'm stuck in the coin technique.
This is interesting.
Okay.
Though. Number 3, Zev Siegel.
Okay, he's not a goalkeeper.
He is not a goalkeeper.
Beautiful. Okay.
Alongside Jerry Baldwin and Gordon Boca invented Starbucks.
Oh, okay. Right.
1 out of 3.
Okay.
Coin's interesting technique. Number 4.
Yeah.
John McCarthy.
He's not a goalkeeper.
He is a goalkeeper for the LA Galaxy.
I knew that.
He actually started the season ahead instead of Bondi.
Yes.
Right, number 5, Jeffrey Hyman.
And the coin says Jeffrey Hyman is a goalkeeper.
But he is not a goalkeeper. He founded Pret in London in 1983.
Of course he did.
This technique isn't
not
going
working, is it?
Too well.
Okay, how many have I had?
You've had 5. Got 1 correct.
Okay.
Are you going to stick with the coin?
We're going to be on a winning streak now.
Right, number 6, Drake Callender.
He's not a goalkeeper.
He is a goalkeeper for Inter Miami and the USA.
Okay.
Sticking with the coin technique. It's a very interesting technique.
Okay.
Right, number 7,
Yeah.
Alex Bono.
The coin says he is a goalkeeper.
And he is a
Beautiful.
goalkeeper. He is a DC United goalkeeper.
Okay, we're on a roll now.
Right, number 8, Jerry Ford.
He's not a goalkeeper.
He's not, and he founded Cafe Nero.
Beautiful.
He's on a roll. Number 9, Max Morgenthaler.
He's a goalkeeper.
He's not a goalkeeper. He invented Nescafe coffee. He invented freeze-dried coffee.
My 6 out of 10's definitely not happening.
Yep,
is it?
right.
Okay.
Last one, number 10, Andrew Thomas.
That's heads. He is a goalkeeper.
He is a goalkeeper for the Seattle Sounders.
Okay.
I think 4 out of 10's.
Is that bottom of the? Is that worst ever?
I think you might be joint bottom.
If you invite me back, I promise.
Make sure that's on the next one.
I promise I won't use the coin technique.
It was an interesting
I'm not
technique.
sure whether
It's
I would
not
be
been
any
done
better.
before.
Well, that's what I figure.
Yeah, it's not been done before. I would just come on with the goalie, and then not offend anyone.
That's
and just go.
I wonder which would have been most effective?
Yeah.
I'm going to go back, when I listen to this, I'm going to go back to see if I'd have gone goalie, that would have got more than the coin toss.
Yeah, I randomised the order of it all and that. But 4 out of 10.
Yeah, okay.
With a coin.
Okay.
At least you've taken it out of your own hands.
Exactly.
Right, I want to talk to you about what parents and children and consumers should look for when they buy their own gloves.
Yeah.
Because obviously I think you're probably the most researched in doing this, of what cut you should look for, what design, what latex, what should Joe Bloggs go out and buy?
So this is going to be based on brand opinion and personal opinion as
Yes,
well.
of
There's
course.
going to be lots of listeners that we go, no, that's that. No, I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that. My view would be, as a kid, and I'm talking, under 8, under 9. I personally think a level of finger protection is good. It's important. I think it helps. It helps with technique because you fundamentally already got your hands
In a set position.
In a set position. So I think it helps with learning. It clearly helps that their fingers are young and delicate and have the ability to be broken or damaged or whatever. So I think that's important.
Yes, I completely agree. And that's one of the things, obviously, I still wear them because that's what I grew up wearing because of my idols. But I think for especially the young generation, it gives them an extra layer of protection. It's just peace of mind, even for the parents, of like, it might just help them, like we say, that 1%. It might just stop that sprain, that break. And especially for kids at that age that are in the education system, for them to go and break a couple of fingers on a Saturday playing football and can't pick up a pen for a couple of weeks, it's crucial to their own learning, their own education, that they're looked after.
And I think at that age, not many want to be goalkeepers.
Yeah.
More often than not, it's, come on, Dave, you go in goal, you go in goal. And then they they
Take
swap it around,
turns.
take turns. And therefore, what do? They stand in there, they get cold, they start shivering.
Swing a leg at it.
Hands get cold. They let a goal in, they get a load of grief. It's a tough position to be in at your level,
Yes.
making a mistake.
Yep.
If you're 5, 6, 7 years old,
The scrutiny
making a
that's on
mistake,
you.
it's really tough. So I think anything that you can do to give the keeper, a young keeper, confidence definitely helps. And as a quick aside, we have quite a young audience that buys into glove glue.
Yeah.
And I've seen it so many times where, as I said, it's not cool necessarily to be a goalkeeper. People want to be whoever they want to be, a Messi, Ronaldo, whoever their hero is. They want to be a striker. They want to be scoring goals more often than not. If you got a young keeper walk onto a pitch with a bottle of glove glue, what happens? First and foremost, all their teammates crowd around him. Wow, what's this? Why? What? That's cool. What's that? What is that? That's cool. Secondly, keeper puts it on their gloves. Thirdly, they have a bit of confidence. Fourthly, maybe they make a save. Maybe they make a good save. Next week, Dave, you got your glove glue on, haven't you? Yeah, you are wearing your glove glue. It's just a completely mental thing, but it takes them from being this quiet goalkeeper who's in goal and a little, maybe lacking a bit of confidence and getting cold, to has the ability to give them something to interact with the teammates around and a bit of banter and all the fun stuff. And that's, interestingly, and of course we never knew this when we launched, but that's become a really interesting play for us. And as I said, I've seen it play out so many times because it's something different and something cool and something that, guess what, the outfield players can't use. It's not for them.
It's not for them.
It's for this
You're
boy or
special
girl
by
in
using
goal.
this,
Yeah.
It's Mike's Magic Water from Space Jam.
Exactly that.
It's just Bugs Bunny writes Mike's Magic Water, gives it to the whole team, and they all raise their game.
Correct.
It's that element of sets you apart, gives you a bit more confidence, and then, as we're saying, at 8, 9 years old, you're not expected to catch shots. You're not. You're just expected to get your body behind them.
Yep.
But if every now and then a product or a glove helps you catch that one and you get the plaudits and you then enjoy the plaudits, that's what makes you want to develop more in goalkeeping.
Correct.
And that's what I find so interesting. So even going back to the gloves and that, So you recommend obviously the finger protection for the younger
So
age,
finger
but
protection
as
for
you
young one.
start to develop them more as you get into like 12, 13-year-old, I think that's when you then need to find a type of glove and a cut.
Yes.
Specifically a cut that you find more confident,
Yeah.
your confidence in, because you're developing in your own body and you want a glove to reflect that of how you keep goal.
I think that's absolutely right. Maybe it's cut, maybe it's brand. I mean, if you look at if you use a shoe analogy, and let's take two brands. Let's take Nike and Adidas. The fit of those two brands is different.
Yes.
You might prefer one or the other. You might be an 8.5 in one, and you're an 8 in the other, or a 9.
Yep.
So I think once you've found your lane, I think that's quite important
Yep.
as well. As long as said brand continues to produce the product that you want to buy.
Yeah.
So it becomes difficult, and I go back to the roll finger scenario. You may have bought a brand 6-7 years ago that was producing a roll finger glove, and you loved it and it was great and the fit was good, and you're an 8.5 or an 8 or whatever your size was. The likelihood is now maybe that brand doesn't offer that glove.
Of course, yeah.
And then it becomes harder.
Yeah.
But I think get to 12, 13, 14, try. You've got to try the different fits. You've got to know what feels right, because it really is personal preference.
Yeah, of course. And obviously there is such a large market out there of different types of cuts, and like we're saying about the strapless, and it is just a personal preference. You've got to start to develop that as you develop in your own body, as we were saying. But like as you get older, you'll find what you like, and just go in for the glove that you like, and then you can then play with, obviously you as a brand, but you can play with brands, and you can find the brand that suits you and your personality. And also like the latex is slightly different for every glove, or how you look, how they wear, or how you look after them. And obviously with glove glue, you offer so much more than just a glove. You offer the surrounding features that help you maintain and get the best out of your gloves. So like having a brand like that, and it's a huge selling point for yourself.
Sure. I think the glove, it is. I think going back to the sort of education and how do you choose a glove, I think one of the elements that is misunderstood is the fact that if you don't have great technique, it's probably not a great idea to spend silly money on a pair of goalkeeping gloves, because probably you're going to do basic things like you're going to push off the ground with your palms,
Yes.
not your knuckles, for example. If you've got an expensive glove, it's going to have soft latex. You're going to damage that latex
Instantly.
really, really quickly.
Yeah.
Really quickly.
Yeah.
And again, you see that time and time again. You've got retailers who get very frustrated with this, that someone, there's a 12-year-old kid, and mum spent 200 quid on a pair of goalkeeping gloves, and within the first week, they're writing back to a brand or retailer saying, hang on a minute, these gloves they're meant to be the best on the market. Surely this isn't right. Well, it is right. So there's a huge piece around there. So my advice would be don't. If you're still developing your technique at a young age, whatever that means, or at any age, don't waste your money.
Yeah, no, 100%, yeah. It's so important. And having your YouTube channel, having a podcast to listen to, there's so much more out there now to educate people. And it's so important that consumers, parents, whoever's buying the gloves, educate themselves about why they should be buying those gloves and what they're going to do for that goalkeeper and that individual.
It is. And it's really simple. The more expensive the glove, the softer the latex.
Yep.
The less it's going to last. The cheaper the glove, the longer it's going to last. The harder the latex, the less grip. It's as simple as that.
Yep.
Decide where you want to be on that sliding scale. Decide what you can afford on that sliding scale. Decide how good you are as a keeper on that sliding scale.
Yep.
Find your lane, find your price point, find your cut. Find maybe your preferred brand, find your size, and then hopefully you'll end up with the product that is right
for you. 100%. Right, I want to go into the glove care then, right? How do you recommend a goalkeeper from unboxing a pair of your gloves looks after their gloves to keep them at their optimum? Because everyone's opinion, professionals, amateurs, they're all different. It's just personal preference, obviously.
It is. So I've unboxed my gloves. There are two schools of thought here. One is I immediately wash the glove.
Yep.
There could be some detritus in there. There could be something from the manufacturing process. There's this urban myth that I wash my gloves to activate my latex. Well, no, I mean, it's coming out the factory as a latex. There's no magical ingredient. You don't add water to activate a latex. Yep. It's already activated.
Yep.
It's already super grippy. Yeah, it's good to go.
It's the product it should be.
It's a product it should be. So, I think that is down to personal preference. Does it do any harm washing them? No. So, okay, if you think the right thing to do is to wash your gloves. Again, do I wash them just with water, or do I wash them with a soapy water? Do I wash them with a proper glove wash? The recommendation would be, there's lots of brands out there, including ourselves, that carry a glove wash.
Yep.
The clue's in the name. It's a glove wash. The wash is developed and designed for goalkeeping gloves. Fairy Liquid is designed to clean something. It'll do a job, but maybe it's not the right product.
Yeah.
A bar of soap maybe isn't the right product. So, by all means, wash it with warm water to get out some of the stuff, if there is anything, which sometimes there is. Invariably, there's not.
Yep.
Or wash it with a glove wash.
Yeah.
Okay, let's say I've gone down the wash route. I need to dry these things. How do I dry the things? You've got to let them dry naturally. Do not put them in the sunlight, because guess what? The sun's going to dry out your latex. Your latex is going to crap, and your gloves are going to be done.
Yeah.
Don't dry them on a radiator, because guess what? They're going to dry out too quickly, and it's not going to work. So let them dry naturally, away from sunlight, to give them a fighting chance. Great. Okay, good. I've got my new gloves. Maybe I haven't washed. I've washed them. Okay, I've dried them. Okay, I'm good to go. I'm on the pitch. Do I then take my water bottle out and spray the palm? Or do I spit on the palm? Yeah, spitting is very much a cultural thing. It's interesting. So I said we're big in the US. The spitting on your palms is quite a cultural thing in the US. As far as I can see, that seems to be the market where spitting on the palms happens the most.
Really? Wow.
Pretty gross, pretty unhygienic. Does it do anything? Does it activate the latex? No, it doesn't. I've heard the reset argument, that mental reset of, I've just made a mistake. Okay, I'm going to spit on my palms to reset my mind, because that's what I do.
Yeah.
I get that. Different play, nothing to do with grip. It's just that's a mental reset. So I see something there in terms of spitting. I wouldn't spit on my palms. Do I need to put water on my palms? No. As we've said, these palms are brand new. These gloves are brand new. They're great. They've got a great grip. You don't need to do anything.
Yeah.
Do you want to add an extra bit of grip to them if they're a cheap palm and they don't have the grip? Yeah, there's a product out there. It's called glove glue. You can spray some glove glue on your palm. It won't do them any harm. It's a water-based product. It's going to keep the latex moist. It's going to give you a bit of extra grip. Some people will do that. They'll get a new pair of gloves and they will immediately spray glove glue onto those gloves. It doesn't do any harm to do that. You're going to let them dry at the same time and you're going to have a bit of extra grip.
Yeah.
I'm on pitch. I've had my game, had my training, whatever. I come off. Then what do? As we said before, don't take those gloves off and throw them in your kit bag to fester.
Yep.
Take them off. A lot of people like to go in the shower with
them.
Yeah. Fine, take them in the shower.
Yep.
Take them in the shower, wash them off. They're going to be invariably quite damp and muddy and wet anyway. So, maybe you don't even need any soap. You just need to get rid of the core dirt that's on your gloves. My advice would be, don't just wash them on in the shower, also take them off. I've seen keepers, great, brilliant. Oh, yeah, wash my gloves in the shower every week. Okay, then you take them off. Well, what are they like on the inside? Oh, yeah, they're super stinky. Oh, well, hey, when you're in the shower, why don't you, at the end, why don't you actually take them off and wash the insides of the gloves as well? Again, even if you're just running warm water, hot water through the gloves,
100%, yeah.
the bacteria that produces the odor doesn't like hot water.
Yep.
So do that as well. That's a little tip. Dry them again in the same way that we just talked about. There are products on the market. We have a product that you can spray inside your gloves to kill the bacteria that produces the odor. It likes warmth and damp, so try and make sure they're not warm and damp when you dry them. If you want to revive your palms, sure, there's products that we have that can revive your palms. But I think if you follow those simple steps, and I alluded to it at the top of the pod, for us it's wash, refresh, revive.
Yeah.
Follow the simple steps, do it regularly. Your gloves will last longer and they will perform better.
Yep.
Well, that's great, right? If you're spending decent money on a pair of gloves and they're going to last longer and they're going to perform better, I'm really happy with that.
Surely any purchase that you make, you want them to work, whatever the purchase is. If it was a TV, you want it to last for as long as it can. You want it to work at its best for as long as you can. And if you look after it, it will do those things. And no matter what purchase you make, you're trying to get it to last as long as it can and work as best as it can.
Correct.
It's no different.
The only difference is just recognise that the performance of these gloves will deteriorate
100%.
over time.
Yep.
Because the palm is made of latex, which is a natural material, which is going to wear away.
Yep.
So I'm sorry. Yeah, you can make them last as long as possible or last longer and perform better, but at some point in time, they will have totally lost their grip.
Yeah. I always tell people it's about feel. So when you unbox them, feel the latex, pick up the ball that you're going to play with, feel the pitch, the conditions, the atmosphere, and then make a decision whether you're going to wash them and pre-wash them with water or whatever, or any of the glove care products. It's a feel thing.
Yeah.
Feel the ball that you're going to play with. That's the most important thing, is that when you put a pair of gloves on, the ball that you're going to catch, are your gloves in a condition to catch that ball? If you think that they'll be better off damp or wet or clean, washed, do it. Get a feel for what you're doing. That's the most important thing.
No, it's absolutely right. As I said, I probably, if you ask me, would I suggest you wash or don't wash? I would go to, and you'll relate to this, I would go to look at what the pros are doing. They get 3 pairs of gloves. So in theory, they can have a new pair of gloves for every game, and a lot of them do that.
Yep.
Guaranteed, they're not opening those gloves and pre-washing those gloves. Yeah. They're taking them out of the pack because they know straight out of the pack they're super grippy.
That's the best point. I take them out of the pack and I'll go outside, and before a game or before training, I'll rub them on the ground. And then that's me thinking in my head, I've conditioned these for that surface.
So that's interesting. So that's your activator, is rubbing them on the ground.
Because it's got it's either wet and you're wetting your glove, or it's dry and your gloves you're going to get a bit of the dirt on them, because then...
Or it's just what you do.
It's just what I do.
That's
my
in your
way
mind.
of switching my gloves on almost.
Yeah.
Like my reset button.
Yeah.
Right. I want to go on to the Nationals and your coaching academy now.
Yeah.
And obviously working with Martin and obviously the global brand that you've created now with the coaching and stuff.
Yeah. No. So Martin and I worked together. Who's an all-sport coach, and we tried to do something way back, probably 10 years ago, and it was really hard to do that when you're working for a global brand, to try and put all the pieces together if you want to create a global goalkeeping camp. So we revisited it and came together as a partnership, set up a new business, and launched Glove Glue Academy. And Glove Glue Academy covers a load of different areas, really. So first and foremost, it's the weekly coaching that Martin currently delivers.
Yep.
The bigger play for us was we launched the Nationals 3 years ago. So this will be the 3rd year coming up this August. And the whole raison d'etre behind the Nationals was, let's try and create the best residential goalkeeping camp that we can.
Yep.
The best experience for the attendees, the best coaches, the best advice, the best information, the best venue. So we started off at Harrow School, great venue, close to Heathrow, close to London, a lot of history, so on and so forth, as a weekend event. Did that for 2 years. So last year we had keepers coming from 14 different nations around the world.
Incredible, that.
We had one keeper that flew in from New Zealand to come to the Nationals goalkeeping camp, which is insane.
That is insane.
We've moved to the Nationals to a new venue, so Haileybury School. Again, kind of M25 Hertfordshire, so close to good transport links,
Yep.
close to London, so on and so forth. Easy for people to fly down, train down, whatever it is. And sounds like an ad, but due to popular demand, we've now extended the national. So there are two versions. So there's the week-long version,
Yep.
which is the end of July, finishes on the 4th of August. Or there's the weekend version, which is the Saturday, the 2nd, 3rd and 4th of August.
Yep.
Why have we launched a week? Because the demand from the international goalkeepers
Of course.
is, look, if we're coming all the way from wherever, then actually we want a week's intensive training. We want to learn about goalkeeping technique. We want to learn about diet. We want to learn about fitness. We want to learn about mental health. We want to be surrounded by ex-pro keepers and coaches that have been there, seen it, done it. So whether it's a Hans Sagers or whether it's a Martin Brennan, or whether it's mindset coaches or whoever it is, we want to try and deliver a residential camp that you're going to go away thinking, do you know what, I've learned a load, and B, I've improved, and C, there's a load of takeaways that I've got, a lot of homework that I've got to go away and work on. And yeah, we're lucky in the fact that we can clearly market that to a global audience through the Glove Glue brand, which is one of the reasons why we're attracting the global audience. But we're also working very hard with UK coaches this year. Martin's working very hard with UK coaches this year, basically saying, look, if you want me to come and deliver a session for you, wherever you are in the country, I'll come and deliver a session for you. Hopefully give the kids something different that you haven't had before. Maybe as a coach, it helps you. Maybe you're at a level, you need some mentoring, you need some help, you need some assistance, whatever it is. And maybe some of those kids see the nationals and go, do you know, actually, I wouldn't mind going along to that. And that's working really, really well, actually, in terms of working with those coaches to push kids towards the nationals.
29 years ago, I went on a Youth Sport goalkeeping course.
Right.
A 1 week course.
Okay.
I think I was 8 years old.
Wow.
And I'd only had my dad train me in the back garden and down the park. And then the chance to go to a Youth Sport goalkeeping course, I think it was in Keele University. It was a long time ago. And honestly, the improvement I made from that 1 week intensive course, apparently, when I came back, everyone could just tell that I was now a goalkeeper. I transformed from being someone that could play centre back or in goal to no, you're a goalie now. I'd learned all the fundamentals and the disciplines. And obviously it being such an intensive week of training 2 or 3 times a day, doing the educational side of it, and it all just apparently come together. I don't even really remember it, but from the way that my dad tells it, and even I got scouted within 6 months of that, and I signed for Arsenal within 6 months of that. And obviously it's a testament to how important these sort of academies and intensive courses are, that they do produce so much success.
Absolutely. You know, we're age 8 to 18, and you'll have keepers of different standards, different abilities that will be put in the appropriate groups. And you will have keepers at any age that potentially will experience what you've just experienced. You'll have some that will go there and they've had a fun week, and that's great. You'll have others that will go there and be completely motivated. We had 13 come over from the US last year, for example, of which those 13 went back then to college tryouts. So all going back, going, hey, I've just had that. For them, it was actually they had a week because we added on a little bit more for them. I've just had a week in the UK, intensive coaching. I'm coming back. I'm buzzing. They all then excelled in their college programs because guess what? The other guys and girls that they were competing against hadn't had that experience, hadn't had that level of coaching. You know, we're really lucky here that, you know, home of the Premier League, and therefore attracting an international audience becomes easier because, you know, their perception is that we do it best here. Great. Well, we'll present you with ex-Premier League players and coaches, and we'll try and coach you and teach you in the way that, you know, keepers in this country have traditionally been taught, and I think that resonates as well.
And leading into that, I want to talk to you a little bit about social media and how the goalkeeping influencers have kind of changed the way that brands are even looking at goalkeepers now. And obviously the audience that a professional goalkeeper has is nowhere near the level of a goalkeeping influencer. And obviously we spoke before off air about brands are now attaching themselves more to influencers than they are professional goalkeepers. And how do you see this space changing?
It's absolutely fascinating. Yeah, so I've been in the situation where, I've been involved with big deals with big keepers.
Yep.
Keepers, Premier League keepers getting 250, 300, 350,000 euros
Yep.
a year.
Yep.
Plus some other bits and bobs, plus your free product and so on and so forth. And I've been involved with keepers like that have zero social media presence.
Yep.
And you look at it from a brand perspective and you go, there is no way I'm going to get a return on this investment. But hey, everybody else is doing this athlete thing, so maybe we should do it.
Yep.
You roll forward to today, and I think the whole athlete endorsement program versus influencer program is really being challenged. And I go back to the point that, as Glove Glue as a brand, we could go and sign a Premier League keeper tomorrow.
Yep.
Great on one hand, from a presence point of view.
Yes.
But maybe they're an Aaron Ramsdale, and suddenly they're not number one, and suddenly it's somebody else, and actually you're not getting the exposure that you want to get. You can still say we've got the Arsenal goalkeeper,
of course,
but maybe you're not getting the exposure that you want. I probably as an end consumer, as a Gen A, Gen Z, Gen X even, can't relate to the keeper because they're not telling me what they had for breakfast and they've just taken the dog for a walk and all these things, all these real things.
Yep.
So they're on a pedestal.
Yep.
I probably can't interact with them because they're almost certainly not going to respond to any comment, or they're not going to follow me, or they're not going to like me, or there's not going to be anything coming back from said keeper. So I'm going to spend a lot of money as a brand to tick a box. Is that box an historical box? If option B is I can sign up for the same amount of money, 5, 10, 15, 20 influencers that give me a way bigger reach, that are real, that are authentic, that are producing a load of content, that are talking about my brand in a real way, that this works. Maybe even this doesn't work.
Yes.
Fine. I've tried this. This is no good. This spray is brilliant. It works better. This, whatever it is. They're going to massively be engaged in the goalkeeping community, and vice versa. The goalkeeping community is going to embrace them.
So much more eyes on it.
It's just, I look at, as I said before, you look at some of the social penetration that we've had. TikTok posts hitting 71 million views. Okay, it's a huge audience, right? And they're hitting that on their phone, sitting on their couch or wherever they're consuming this content. Yeah, you could argue that globally, we could have a goalkeeper in the Premier League that has 71 million people looking at him. But the reality is they're looking at the whole game. They're not looking at what gloves they're wearing.
100%.
If it's on your phone right in front of you, you're interacting massively with that influencer. So what's happening? What's happening is, and not just in our world, but definitely in the world of goalkeeping, the challenger brands and the bigger brands are all recognizing, hey, do you know what? We need a base of influencers here. And these influencers that maybe have only got 10,000 followers are being tapped up by the brands, and they're going, well, actually, I've just talked to X, and I've actually Y's contacted me and B's contacted me. So the price is going up.
Yeah.
And you've got influencers there that I know are being paid 1,000, 1,500, maybe 2,000 a month. And they're following, you look at it and you go, okay, I can't justify that investment in them at this moment in time.
Yeah.
Maybe in the future, they will grow and become a bigger influencer and have a bigger audience.
It's just the potential, though, of what the influencer and the content that they're creating and the eyes that they get on it is what you're buying into. Instead of going for the Premier League goalkeeper who won't post about it, but you can brag about it on your own socials that might not reach as many people, because it going and spending hundreds of thousands of pounds on a Premier League goalkeeper is for your own bragging rights, just to say, we have this goalkeeper, you should also buy this brand. But this is what I find it really interesting now. It's like the influencing world. It's like they're doing the whole ASMR. They're doing a lot more personal videos about their gloves that a pro wouldn't do for embarrassment of their own teammates, or they're not allowed to do it. So it's the controlled aspect of getting a championship or a League One goalkeeper compared to going and getting a TikTok influencer, but you're getting so much more content and so much more eyes on your product. It's an amazing thing that I enjoy watching it as it's evolving, and I think it is for the better of goalkeeping.
Yeah, I mean, we've grown and continue to grow a global brand in the goalkeeping space.
Yep.
And we don't really have any major pro keepers.
Yeah.
And traditionally, you'd have said there's no way you can be credible in the marketplace if you don't have pro keepers. Now, okay, you could argue that we don't necessarily see ourselves as a goalkeeping glove brand.
Yeah.
So maybe if you're a glove brand, then you perhaps need an athlete. But again, you might have in the past invested in 3, 4, 5. You're probably investing in one hero keeper now.
Yep.
If you look at what Royce is doing, for example.
Yep.
But it is changing massively. It's changing how we consume content. It's changing who we relate
Palm
to.
your hand, isn't it? Everything's in your phone now. So
it really is. So we, for us, then we've got to use. We'll dial down and use that medium. We'll use social media as a medium as best we can to connect with the global goalkeeping community.
Yeah, and as I was saying, even like yourself, you've done podcasting, you've got the academy, you've done a lot of YouTube work, and your social media presence is huge. And there's no denying it. Like, that's what's incredible is that without having a Premier League goalkeeper, I know you had Michael McGovern in recent years.
Yep.
Like, without having an established Premier League goalkeeper, you've managed to grow the brand out naturally by using social media, and that's the way that the world's going now. And it's a clever marketing tool.
We just try to be real. So you look at our TikToks, and it's driven by listen to that grip. So it's literally spraying glove glue on your goalkeeping gloves and listening to that grip.
Yeah.
And will it stick? So putting anything random, so spraying glove glue on your gloves, and randomly will Mark Howard stick to it? Will a mug stick to it? Will a car stick to it? Will a house? Like just silly stuff.
Yeah.
So we're prepared to sort of take the mickey out of ourselves a little bit.
Yes.
But end consumers like that because that's just real and genuine.
Yeah.
You know what? We're not using smoke and mirrors here.
But you're also
to
going to
say,
get more interaction.
This is amazing. Exactly that. And particularly with Will It Stick, what Will It Stick does is it drives comments.
Yeah.
People go, try peanut butter, try Marmite, try this. And it just creates its own content that you can respond to, which the algorithms really, really enjoy.
Yeah.
I think the other thing, whilst we're on social, and it's a really interesting point, and I think your listeners would enjoy, is so, we've grown our audience on TikTok really nicely. TikTok Shorts. TikTok are now moving to more long-form content and more live content.
Yeah.
So we've seen a little bit of a plateau in terms of the aggressive growth that we were seeing in TikTok.
Yeah.
But conversely, YouTube went from really pushing long-form to pushing shorts.
Short form, yeah.
So suddenly our YouTube audience went from 3,000 or 4,000 to 165,000, 170,000 in 6 months because we took the short-form content that we were producing on TikTok and pushed it into YouTube.
Yeah.
So there's a bit of a battle going on there.
Yeah, there is, yeah.
And that's right across the board in terms of brands, and you've got influencers getting involved, and the influencers then going, do we do short form, do we do long form, what do we do? And then because TikTok are rewarding the influencers now with more long form, and it's a moving feast. It's fascinating.
Yeah, it's a great world to be part of. Right, just before we finish, I always finish on this, Paul, is what does the Goalkeepers Union mean to you?
So we've become members of the Goalkeeping Union, kind of, I want to say by default. So I'm not a goalkeeper. I'm not a footballer. I don't have a heritage in that. I've had 30 years in sporting goods. I've worked with lots of different brands over the years. My gateway into the Goalkeeping Union was through Ulsport, as I said before, working with those guys for 10, 11 years, which got me into relationships with pro keepers. which then got me into understanding more about what these guys are like. Are they this mad bunch of whatevers that you got to be mad to be a goalkeeper? Is that true? Is it not true? And you get to understand, actually, no, they're just, it's a challenging position, but there's lots of challenging positions in lots of different sports.
Yep.
Are they treated slightly differently? Yeah, quite possibly. Yeah, I think there's still a mentality there that the keepers go and train by themselves, and the outfield players go and train by themselves. Is it changing in terms of is the position changing and playing from the back and playing more as part of a team? Yes. So I've come into the goalkeeping union, partnering with Martin, who's been in that his whole life.
Yeah.
Has opened up my eyes even more at every level, and therefore, I hope we're not an imposter. I hope we're. I think I'm embraced. I think I'm okay. I think we're in it. I think we're trying to be credible. We're trying to be credible and real.
So, anyone that understands us is part of the union. Anyone that wants to make goalkeepers or goalkeeping better is a part of the union.
No, I think that's right, and I think it fascinates me the mental side, in particular, is the piece that really, like, it's bloody tough,
it's
right?
It's tough, isn't
like,
it? Yeah.
I'm a striker. Like, look at Haaland's missed how many opportunities and there's a bit of press about it, but he comes back and sticks 5 in the back of the net, whatever. He's fine. Like, if a keeper goes on a run like that, even if two, you're done.
You're done.
You're finished.
Yep.
You're finished. And I think that's really challenging and really difficult, and kind of doesn't feel right, because what's that old saying? Class is permanent, form is temporary, and it's right.
Yes, it is. Yeah.
And you're gonna make a mistake. It just gets recognised more because it leads to a notch on the scoreboard for the other team invariably.
Yeah. Well, that's what makes goalkeepers so different, though. That is the way that we handle that sort of pressure, and also what goes with it, with making a mistake, and the acceptance almost of, I'm going to lose my place. It's a hard world to be in, but it's also, if you're part of it, it's the best, because you are different. You're not crazy, you're not stupid, you're not mental, you're just different. You're a goalie. And
I get that, and we talked about it briefly. I think there's two points on that as well that I think are worth just picking up quickly. One is that reflected in today's commentary teams?
No.
So we've then got outfield players that have never been in a position that are commenting about, keeper should have done this, keeper should have done that, who don't understand it. So I think maybe in the way that referees have come onto commentary teams in the last 3-4 years, maybe there's an opportunity for goalkeepers. I think there is.
I totally agree.
And I think the same sadly in clubs is there's a lot of talented, really super high level keepers that have got a lot of knowledge to pass on to the next generation of keepers that are being overlooked, their values not being recognised. So I think there's a lot of work to be done in and around those topics.
Yeah, I totally agree. And it's hard to say that the elite ones, where's their motivation to stay in the game when they've had a barrage of abuse for 20 years? It's that they almost want to walk away from football, but it's those gem bits of information that they do have that could make someone great. And we need to find a way of bridging that gap and making goalkeeping more celebrated.
100%.
What an episode it's been, by the way. Paul Sherratt of Glove Glue, thank you very much for coming on. I've thoroughly loved talking geeky glove stuff. It's the best chat. Thank you.
Thanks for having me on, Mark. Absolutely enjoyed it myself.
Amazing. This has been the Yours, Mine, Away podcast with me, Mark Howard. Again, please make sure you go like, follow and subscribe. Thanks a lot, guys.
What a save from Mark Howard.